Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fabulously. It's been a beautiful day, beautiful morning here because our humidity is a little bit lower. Still going to be hot today, but not the unbearable humidity we've had for so long. And I've already been up and to farmer's market, so I am ready to paint with you guys. So that's okay, Monty. It will be here, and you can finish watching whatever you miss. You can come back to it later. Good morning, Jan. Okay. So I tried to share this to Facebook, the link, but it wouldn't let me. I had some issues last time I went live with Facebook saying that someone had claimed copyright fringes on my video where I was painting my own work. So I got pretty mad at Facebook, and I don't know if they blocked so I cannot share onto my business page anymore, but it wouldn't even let me share the link onto my business page. So here we are. Just on YouTube, no Facebook. So Facebook has changed so much over the past couple weeks. I haven't been on it very much, and it's very frustrating. So I'm just going to have to stick with my YouTube. So hopefully you guys will all join me here on YouTube and leave Facebook and come join me right here on YouTube. Oh, man. Yeah, it was very frustrating this morning. So I couldn't even get onto my business page to post something. I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know. Maybe they're mad because I was mad. I don't know. But I'm here this morning. I hope you guys are ready to paint this fancy drink. This is the one that you guys picked, so I could show you how to look at a photograph and paint what you see. So I hope that you guys are going to paint along, and if not, I hope you're going to paint it later. You can grab the line drawing at lonnalamb.com. Now, just a quick reminder for any of you who didn't see my coffee and chat a couple of weeks ago that my current website will be closing at the end of August. I'm working on a new one. It will still have the same lonnalamb.com, get to it that way. But if you have any PDFs that you need to download from my website, you need to get those downloaded because after the end of August 30th, you won't be able to get them. So make sure that you get them. I won't have access to your orders. I mean, I'll have access through PayPal, but PayPal wasn't always good about itemizing if somebody had a big order, putting that itemized list on there. So if you haven't got your PDFs from my website, please be sure and get those over there. Good morning, Don. Good morning, Janelle. I'm glad you guys are here today. You know what we're painting today. Let me put the picture up. We're painting this fancy little drink here. Oh, I've titled it Fancy Drink. I don't know. I did get this photo from Pixabay, and I went on this morning on Pixabay searching for it again, because usually when I find one in there, I keep it in my Pixabay folder. But I could not for the life of me find this drink on Pixabay. I didn't know how. I kept searching for pink drink, wine glass with pink drink with an orange slice, and I couldn't get it to come up. There's two glasses in the photo, two drinks in the photo. I'll put the original photo up here. This is the original photo that I found on there. If I ever find the link for it, I will put it in the description below. But we're just going to paint this drink that was in that photo. So, yeah, and my drink is a little bit brighter pink than this one. So you can paint any color of pink that you want that is pleasing to you. I picked the colors that I felt would pop best on this black canvas. This pink was a little muted for me. So that's another thing about painting from a photo. You have creative license to change the color if you don't like it, to adjust a line here or there, to, you know, whatever is going to work for you to make it, you know, more appealing to you. So I did change a few things to make it a little appealing for me. So mostly the color of the glass and some of the highlights I changed up a little bit, but I tried to stay pretty true to this photograph. So let's move that off of there. And let's put me little bitty in the corner up here as soon as I find me. And we are going to get started on this. So this photo underneath me here is my painting, the one that I painted. So here they are right here. And again, I do not know why when I put my photos here, it doesn't look that way on my computer, but right now underneath me that looks pretty bright pink. My drink is kind of a bright pink, but I don't know that it's quite as bright as that photo shows. It's brighter than what my monitor shows right here. So I'm not sure how it shows on your monitor, but this is a very soft pinky purple here, or on the screen. For me it is, but it's really a pink. So yeah. I don't know if that's my monitor color or how it's showing for you guys. Hopefully it's showing a nice pink. It should be close to the photo, but not quite that bright. So this is what we're painting. I painted it on a 10 by 10 canvas here, and then I painted it on a little 6 by 6 panel, just masonite or hardboard there. You can paint it on any kind of surface that you want, so just go with whatever you have. I'm going to be painting it today on a 8 by 8. I'm going to keep my big one close by so I can reference it. But this is the size I'm painting today. Let me grab my easel so we can get started on this. I think this will be a really good one to learn how to paint different things, like paint glass, how to paint some fruit. I love those black straws in there. You don't really have to paint them, just a little color on the edges. I think it's going to be super easy. Now this might take me, I don't know, an hour and a half maybe to paint, or an hour. It depends on how fast I go. So I'm going to be using just a couple of flat brushes, a couple of round brushes, and probably a detail liner. I'm not doing any, well, I'm not planning. On my original one, I didn't. Any traditional decorative painting. Now in traditional decorative painting, you do floating with shading and highlighting. You float the colors on. We will be side loading the brush a little bit, but we're not technically floating for our shading or highlighting. I'm just going to show you how to place colors in to get those looks without doing the shading and highlighting. I think if you're learning to paint from a photo, that makes it a little bit easier, because you can just see in the photo there's some dark color there, so I want to put some dark color there, and you know, etc. You gotta learn to start at the back of the photo. So let me put that photo up real quick. So you want to start at the back, you know, and build your way forward, like on the leaves. We're going to start with our darker color on the leaves. Well, no, we'll still start with a mid value there. But you got to see your colors and where they lay and all that stuff. So it's really just looking at the photo. That's how I taught myself to paint. Looking at a photograph and trying to figure out how to make it look like that photograph. So I think I turned something on I didn't want to turn on. There we go. Okay, so let's just get into this and get busy with it, okay? So we're going to lay out some colors here. Some white and a pink color, whatever pink color you want. If you want to know exactly what colors I used on mine, you can go grab the line drawing. And there was a few of you who purchased the line drawing, and I had the paint list wrong. So I emailed you all that ordered it the correct packet, or correct line drawing with the correct paint colors. Okay. So we're going to start out with some pink. It's kind of a wine color that I've got there, and that's black. And we're going to paint in our pink down here. I'm going to go ahead and put some of my dark pink out as well. Okay. Alright, I've got colors on there now, so I shouldn't need that. Let's put some water on a palette. Clean water is always right there on my palette. So because I'm painting on top of black, it's going to take a couple of coats just for base coats here. You could obviously paint this in and go around all your elements and keep just the areas that you want not black, but I really wanted that black in the top of the drink here to help with a little bit of, with the ice a little bit. It's really going to help with the shading part of the ice. So I'm just going to mix my pinks, my pink and my white here. And get a light pink. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. I'm glad you got it. So I'm painting on a canvas panel here. Now canvas is going to take paint completely different than a wood surface. The canvas, whether it's a canvas panel or just a regular canvas, it grips the brush. Doesn't matter how smooth I try to make my canvas, it still has areas where it grips and pulls and drags the brush a little bit. So this is my light pink that I'm putting in here. It's just a messy little first coat. Do you want to keep the edges out here of the drink nice and neat, because we won't be doing anything out there after we're done with the drink. The only part of the glass that we will add is the part up here and the part that is down below to create some depth with the glass. So if you're painting on a canvas and your paint is not moving, you need a little moisture. And we're just going to keep it kind of messy down there. It doesn't matter how it looks down at the bottom. Then we don't have to go all the way up to that line either that we got in there. So okay, I'm going to grab a round brush here. I'm going to start blocking in some color for my ice, and I want to make a gray color here. And then you can determine how many ice cubes you want in yours. I probably have way more drawn in here than I want to. I'm just going to loosely outline where those ice cubes. I don't want this to be a perfect outline. This is a rough, and you know, I might change it up and decide I want a bigger ice cube there, and these are just some indications of some ice cubes in here. Just a gray value, kind of a medium gray. Okay, maybe I better put one here. That's a lot of ice cubes in there, so I think we're good with ice cubes. That's plenty of cubes in there that I'm going to have to try and go around. Okay, so I'm going to take some white. If you don't want to go around so many ice cubes, then don't put as many as I did in here. And we're just going to tap a little white on our cubes. This is messy as well, so don't be neat about it. Just stay within your cube lines, and a little bit here, a little bit there. It's just some white. I mean, we're going to have to repeat that probably a couple times, but so we've got our ice cubes established. That's good. I think I might stick with this round brush here. I might have to get a bigger one though. I'm going to mix my pink that we put down below moisture. Hi Barb, glad you could make it. Get some of that moisture out of my brush. And this I'm just going to wiggle in and around my cubes. Maybe a little bit more white in there, a little more moisture. I want it to be just a touch lighter than what I've got it here. Okay, I'm just going to go around my ice cubes here. If I can tell where my ice cubes are, so how's that? I want some along next to that straw. I do want some kind of next to this orange slice here. And you may end up covering up an ice cube altogether. That's okay. And this front edge will have this white foamy stuff on there. Okay, so that's the beginning of our liquid in our glass there. So far, so easy, huh? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, let's go up to our, let's see if I got a little bit bigger round brush here. I'm gonna put in a color for my cherry here. And, well, actually I need to put that, no, I'm not gonna put the dark color in the bottom till I grab my second layer here. I am going to make a color for my cherry, a base color. So some kind of bright red will work good for your cherry. This is just the under painting of it. In the photograph, I couldn't really tell this thing coming down here if it was a stick or if it was metal or what it was. So I made it metal. I think it might have been some kind of stick, but I couldn't really tell 100%, so yeah, I didn't okay, let's see, what color do we want on our orange here? So we're just working on getting base coats in here, just all of our undercoatings, and go ahead and put my green out for my leaves, and because we have to come back and do all these colors twice. I tried to get colors that were similar to the ones in the photo. So I think I got pretty close with some of them. Okay, I'm just going to wipe my brush off and grab some yellow. It's okay if that orange mixes in with it a little bit. I think I do want a little more orange in there with it. So we're not worrying about the glass part yet. We know where it goes. We're just right now blocking in our colors that we need. Okay. So far, so good. All right, so our leaves. Depending on how well your first coat goes on, you may not need a second coat. Paint each leaf in individually. If you leave a little of that black in between them, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too, because we'll come in and add some color in here. I'm just using a chisel brush. This is a chisel blender, or some manufacturers call it a bright, so it's got the shorter bristles, not as long as a flat brush. And I have to use my round brush to get in there, I think. Get a little moisture here. This is just like color book coloring right here when you're putting on all your base coats. It's very easy. And let me grab too much moisture. This area here. Okay, I'm going to continue with this round brush here to paint my green stuff up here at the top. A piece that kind of curves around it here. And then it kind of comes behind over here. Alright, then that thing there, I just made it a piece of like gray. I could not tell what it was in the photo. I zoomed way in on that thing and I wasn't 100% sure what it was. So I just ended up painting it a medium gray color and making it a metal skewer thing. And it comes out over here into the orange. Okay, that's all of our first layers on there. So now we're ready to go back with our second layers. Okay, and when I do my second layer, I'm going to add some color down here. So it's that light. Ooh. Something in my paint there. Light pink. Now this is not the final layer that goes on this pink. We're just getting, this is just the undercoating. Now the one good thing about having the black background is, you know, if you get outside of an area you don't want to have paint, you go clean it up at the end. I always wait till the end and clean it all up. See right there, I got a little ragged line there. I'll probably have to clean that up. And I'm using my Americana paints. I have the link down below, and there's also a coupon code. It's a one-time coupon code for 20% off of your order, so if you want to click on that link and use that code, that's great. I'm going to grab some of this. This is, it's a kind of a violet color is what I've got here, but I still have some of that pink in my brush. So I'm just going to let that kind of blend into this pink a little bit. And then grab a little bit of black and put that in there. It's going to be darker down here at the bottom. Almost this dark purple down there at the bottom. A little bit more of that more violet-y color. And you see I'm just patting it in here. I'm not like brushing it. I'm just patting it. That pink up there is still wet, so it's slightly blending with it and creating all this beautiful little textury stuff. We'll have to do that again because I want it to be darker than that. but that's a good start right there. When do I choose to use a chisel brush versus a flat brush? If I have a really large area to paint in, I'll probably go with a flat brush, but I like the chisel brush better. I just feel like I can get a little better control with it because the bristles are shorter. Now that one might just be a flat brush. That one's a flat brush, but because the bristles are shorter, I feel like I can get it into spaces I need to get it into and just have a little more control over it. But it's really just a personal preference because it doesn't matter which one you use. I just prefer to use the chisel ones over the flat ones. Even when if I'm doing a floating shade and I'm using a brush, a flat brush instead of an angle brush, I'll still probably choose a chisel over a regular flat brush for the length of the bristles mostly. So that just becomes one of those personal preference things where, you know, as you use brushes and different kinds of brushes, you figure out what brush you like to use a little bit better. And chisels are definitely one of my favorites. All right, just going back in with another layer of this pink in here. That's already looking like ice cubes in there, isn't it? I love that. A little bit of white. Try to get my clean white and not my dirty white. I want to put a little more brightening on some of my cubes so I can tell where they're at. We'll wash over this later and put a little bit of pink on these. So we can kind of see where our cubes are in there. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to continue on with my second coats here. Let's see, my orange. Put that on here. Now, I don't know how many of you have painted glass or feel like painting glass is difficult, but I hope after today you can see that it's not too incredibly difficult to paint. So when you paint a photograph, like I said, you have, I think I said this, I'm not 100% sure I did, but you know, you have the option of making some changes to it. You know, if you don't like the direction the light source is coming from, you can certainly change that. You know, and things like that. So don't feel like you have to follow it 100%. This is my red color here. Something in my paint, which I mixed it with some white so I could get it an opaque color because reds tend to not be too opaque. Alright, another layer on our green. If you don't get complete coverage over that black, that's fine, because some of that black peeking through will help create a little bit of darker value in your leaf. Another good thing about painting on a black canvas, it can already give you some shading. And some of these leaves have a, well, this one here has a little turn spot on it. But I think this is pretty good. I think I've put a couple of coats on it already, so I think it's okay. That's not see right there? I don't know if you can tell, but that's where it ends and that's where it comes out. So those have got to meet somehow. Oh my goodness, where it's coming from there, I don't know where it's coming from, but oh, in my other one here, it's coming from that area. So this is just the part that wraps around, so this actually needs to be a little fatter through here. So I'll just take my black and cover that back up that I put on there. And make this a little bit fatter right through there. There we go, that looks much better. It's just something kind of tied on the end there. I'm not really sure what it is. Okay, I'm going to go back down to this area here. I want that violet color there. And I'm going to need a little black in there. Just a little bit. I don't want a ton. And we'll start down here. If you can blend the colors together while you're painting them, that's good. I didn't really have to worry about cleaning that up because, oops, get that black out of it now and just get the violet. Tap that in down here. Very messily. Okay, I'm going to go back to my my pink and my white. Let me put some more white out. I'm going to double load my brush for this next step here. So I'm going to load in my pink and my white. Okay. And I'm going to come into this pink area right here, and I'm just going to begin tapping this and moving it around and giving it that look that the drink in the picture has. A little bit more white. And it's just a messy little blend here. It's nothing. Come down into that stuff, that purpley stuff down there a little bit. There was just this little bit of texture. I don't know, like some mixed drinks, you know, it's not completely mixed, you know. I have no idea what kind of drink this is, but I'm just picking up a little bit of those two colors and blending them in here. I want to see a little bit more of the white in here. Don't blend it out completely. You want to see a little bit of that messy stuff going on there. And that's going to help down here as well. Really make that look like it goes together. But you can certainly come back in and add more and put some sharper lines in there and then just tap them out and make it more interesting. All right, I've got a little bit of that violet on my brush. Oh, that's not violet. Violet color. And I'm going to put some on there and then tap it out a little bit. The drink had some dark areas in there. I don't know what. I don't think it had fruit down in it. It might have been this stuff up here, down here, that was kind of coming up into the drink a little bit. You can leave those off if you want, totally optional, but I still had a little bit that I was blending up in here on this side of my brush. I just went on this side and picked up a little bit of that violet, and then I'm just kind of scumbling over that. Okay, it needs to really be dark down here at the bottom. It looks almost black, but it's not. It's not completely black. And I know that doesn't look straight there because I went up to the line here and I didn't here, but we're going to add some white foamy stuff on there, so it'll be okay. All right, let's take some of that pink mix, maybe a little bit more pink in it. Definitely want water in my brush. And we'll do a little bit more in here. This is just a little bit darker, so I'm not going to put it everywhere. Because we got to put our highlights in that area there. So what I think I'll do is I'll do my white foam here. In this one, now in the photo, I couldn't really tell, but it looked like there might have been some ice cubes down in here that you could just barely see. That's what this little white area is right there. So I can mimic that with some white, and it can have a little bit of pink in it, but not a lot. Mostly white, because we can wash over it with some pink. And then just kind of create a little, maybe an ice cube under there. No, these are kind of big ice cubes. They don't have to be this big. That you can maybe see. You know? And do as little or as many as you want. And we'll wash over that in a minute. Okay, let's add some foamy stuff here along the edge, and that's just with our white, and we're just going to start tapping along here, and this is where you want to cover up that black line, and it's not a real wide little foamy line. At least the picture, it wasn't. But, you know, this is, again, where you could take a little bit of creative license. If you want that foam to be a little thicker and more fun, then go for it. But I'm just using white. I'll go all the way across, and then I will, you know, fix any areas that I need to. Come back and make some areas a little bit bigger. Just right up to that edge. Maybe just a touch more white here, a little more opaque. If your white seems really thin or anything, you'll probably have to do that a couple of times in there. Now back here there was a little bit of foam, but it wasn't very bright, so I made it just a really light gray color because it wasn't super bright in the photo back here, and I just barely tapped this along this edge back here. Let me zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing. Just a little tap right along the edge back there. You want to make sure your line is straight. You know, it goes with the curve of the glass, because if not, it's going to look crooked and everything. So I just did a little tappy line back there, not anything big, okay? Okay, let's add a little highlight on here. Let's my brush out better. Still have pink in it. So I'm just using my round brush, and I'm going to put a little highlight in my drink. Because I'm using white with a little bit of water in it, it's going to not stay on top real well. So it will kind of fade in there and give a nice little bright touch, and we can come back and brighten that. But it's looking like a drink now, isn't it? It's looking pretty good, I must say. All right, so down here, if your ice cubes are very bright, just take a little bit of the white and that pink. Make a really light pink, and I want you to just make a wash out of it. So grab some water, just a thin little wash of this, because you don't want to cover up your ice cubes completely. And you can wash that over your ice cubes. They'll still be there, but they won't be so so bold. And it won't take away all your beautiful texture that you did in here. Okay? Okay. That's pretty dry. So I'm going to make a little wash of that pink. Very, very sheer wash. I mean, it is not very much paint here. Just the smallest amounts of paints. And we're going to wash this over. I'm not going to go over that gray in the back. I'm going to grab a little white in there. Okay, so the only thing left to do on the drink is if when you washed it, now you don't have to do this if it didn't take it away, but if some of your highlight on your cubes disappeared, you might want a little dot, not a lot, just a little dot of some white in there. It's best to wait till your little wash is dry. Mine is not dry, so I don't know how much will stay on top. Just a little bit. We don't want to get it carried away. Okay? I think on my original one I went back and washed over a second time because it's much darker in there. So we will do that as soon as it dries. Okay. Let's do our straws. The straws were pretty easy. You just need a small liner or a detail brush. If you get too wide on anything on your straw, remember it's a black straw, black background. Very, very easy to fix. Okay, so down this edge was a little bit of some orangey color down this side and a little bit here. And the rest of it's like a light gray or there's white in there a couple places. But we're going to do an orange and I'm just going to mix it. Let's dirty mix it. I don't know, black might make it too dirty. Might have to use the pink and mix it. We just want a dirty orange color here. So I'm just going to come along this edge of the straw. And that's not showing up for you, so let me get it just a tad darker so you can see it. I wouldn't normally make it really dark for me, but get it a little bit darker. We're just coming down this edge and then a little bit right through here. It was a reflection of something, maybe the drink that was setting beside it. I don't know. I mean, you could certainly make this a pink highlight. This came all the way up to the edge here. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tons of spam on my feed, you guys. Ugh, hate that. Hate that. I'm gonna have to report all that. Okay, let's see. I could put a little bit of orange right here. Let me grab a drop of water. Okay, so let's go with our little bit of gray mix. Okay, it's a really light gray. And we're going to come along this side here. And let's see, along this side. Put some down here. Right here it was much brighter. I will come back with my white or my black and narrow some of this down, but we're just getting it in here for placement right now. If I can get it to flow off my brush. Water. So sorry about all that stuff that showed up on my comments. If I knew how to take it off right now, I would, but No clue whatsoever. I'm just going to have to report it. Okay, a little bit up here around our straw edge, and we'll come in with our black and clean all of that up. So I'm just barely going down some edges there. Okay, so it all looks pretty bright right now, but let's take our black and let's clean up some stuff and narrow some stuff. And so I'm just taking my black and making things not quite so big and so bright, and you can wash over areas. Wash of black here. So I definitely want to wash over this orange a little bit. I want it to be there, I just don't want it to be that bright. And over here on this side, just a little wash of black. That's all I'm doing here. Just taking those, we want those bright sections, they just don't have to be as bright as what you originally paint them. So that's how you can take things down and make them a little less bold and everything like that. So if you see some place that's not quite straight, you can clean that up as well. Okay, that's pretty good for our straw, I think. Pretty darn good. I want to finish our drink, so I'm going to grab a little bit of my berry wine so we can be completely done with it, and just put a little bit of it in here. That's not berry wine, I don't know what color it is, some kind of berry color. Alright, I think that's going to finish our drink. It looks like ice cubes. We've got our little frothy stuff going there. It looks really good. Okay, we'll finish the glass out here in a little bit. Let's move over to our orange here. So we need some dark orange on here. I think all that spam on there made me lose viewers. I can't help the spam, people. If I knew how to do it, I would. Okay, I think I'll use my round brush here. I want to start with my dark orange, and I'm just going to do some dabbing. You know, put some in here, maybe push it around a little bit. This is that darker orange that's on my list, and then I've got some lighter orange. I'm going to put it on here, and we can kind of bring those two together and make it all happy and orangey looking and all that stuff. Just a dabbing. Dab, dab, dab. Okay, I'll grab a little yellow and mix it in with my orange. That's going to get a little bit lighter orange in here. And that's going to be fun. And then to get a darker orange, we'll take that violet color and mix it in with our dark orange. This is how you don't have to have so many colors. Use the colors you have and darken them and create new colors and values and all that stuff. Okay, I want to go back to my orange and kind of blend that. And once we get the other parts of the orange done, this will all come together a little bit better. This is just some more yellow. Just put it in there. Dab, dab, dab. That's all I'm doing. It's just some dabs. Okay? Super easy. We'll wash over that with some orange later. Alright, we need a light color for the white part. And I'm going to mix a little yellow with it. Too much moisture in my brush. So yellow, and this is light buttermilk here. And we're going to create the white area our orange here. Just dab it on. Be messy about it. You don't want it to be perfect. Nothing in nature is perfect. So just put it on there. It's pretty thick up here on this edge. Just using a round brush, dab, dab, dabbing it, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to use this round brush. Maybe this is my bigger round brush. I better not. Go to a detail liner or a smaller round brush and stay with that mix that you made there. And we're going to put some thin little lines in here. They're going to be bright right now, but we still have colors to add in here, so this is your pulp stuff in here. Okay, just put that in there. Okay. We're going to wash over that with some orange. So I'm going to grab some water, mix that in, and we're going to wash over this. We want our orange to kind of stay transparent. So there is a first layer in there. Now that yellow and white mix that we made, this orange in the photograph had like tears on the edge of the orange, which I thought was incredibly cool. So I'm going to try and mimic that on here and start with this yellowy color and just make it along this edge, the orange. Thought that was something really cool looking, and I really liked how it looked on the orange. So it's looking pretty good, I think. All right, we need more orange on our orange. So I'm going to take that darker orange and the lighter orange and mix them together. Get some of that moisture out of my brush. I really need that darker orange in here. I'm going to tap this along here. Wipe the brush off and pull it out just a little bit. I still want that orange to be, you know, as transparent as possible, but I need it darker back there at that edge. So I'll let that dry a little bit and grab some yellow and some orange. A few more dabs in here. Give that peeling its texture. And I definitely want to put that darker mix back on that orange. So if you have any questions as I go along, just let me know. Darker right here because it's like shadowy underneath that. Okay. Let's put some of that orange wash on our orange peeling. And I'm going to bring a little bit of it into my white area because that's always, always got some of that orangey texture, you know, kind of. We don't want smooth stuff going here. Okay. Even here, we can put a little bit of that and kind of break it up. We don't want a straight line, you know what I mean? In that area there, we want it to be irregular. And then I'll just take this dark mix and put it along here. I don't know, maybe this is a blood orange. Maybe. It's your orange. It can be whatever kind of orange you want it to be. Okay, I think our orange is ready for some highlights. Not too hard, not too hard. Hi, Linda. It's okay that you're late. You're here. That's all that matters. All right, let's put a little bit of highlight on here. So I'm going to put a little bit of white along this edge. Just tapping it on there. A little bit down here on this stuff. Not too much. Okay, we can put a little bit of highlight and might have to add some yellow to it. I don't know. Out here. And then we want some shine on our orange to make it look a little wet. So we'll just put some little shine on there. And I think I'll leave the orange for now. I may come back and add a little bit more color onto it through here, maybe. So, but for now, I think I will leave it. I do want to work on where the orange comes into the drink here. So I want to make sure it looks like it's down in the drink. Right there. And then put a little white highlight on that. Just a little wiggle and a jiggle. Go out here and put some white. We washed over it with that darker pink, so we covered up a lot of our highlight. I'm just putting this in the pink area. I'm not putting it on the ice cubes. Ice cubes already have all their little highlight on there. Okay. All right, let's move to our cherry now. So our cherry, I want to first create a little area that is brighter on the cherry because we're going to add layers onto here. That's another thing when you're painting realism, the layering it gives you more depth. So I don't want you to ever get tired of layering because we need those layers on there to help us create some depth in our painting. So I'm just using the red that I used in the base coat, and I'm going to just put a few little light areas in there. Uh-oh, I think I froze up here. Am I froze up? Please type in if I'm froze up for you, because on my screen it is froze up. I'm not really sure what's going on here, so let me do this. I have a new camera purchased. I just have not gotten it connected yet. Okay. All right. Let me move that down. Okay, I'm back. Whew, okay, all right. I'm back. I don't know why it did that. Totally lost. Okay, back to our cherry here. Okay, all right. So I'm going to take the base color and a little bit of that violet color. Let's mix them together. It's best if you can do this wet onto wet, but my highlight has already dried. Working on that little issue there. Hopefully I won't freeze up again. I really do not know what's going on here. And I'm going to work this around the rest of the cherry. I think I'll grab a little bit of that highlight. Let's see if I can't work it into this wet paint here. And blend it out a little bit, so we can start having more values on our cherry. Okay, we gotta let that dry, so we're gonna work on the stick thing. And I'm gonna make a dark gray here. I don't want black. I just want a dark gray. And we're gonna put some dark gray up here, maybe just a tad bit darker, so a little bit more black. And a little here. And maybe a little bit down this edge. And then right where it comes next to the green stuff and next to the orange, we need that darker right there. Alright, let's just wipe the brush off and get some white. It will blend with that little bit of black that's left in my brush, and we'll create our first little highlight on here. Just dragging it, almost dry brush, dragging it here. A little bit there. Okay. I'm going to touch that up with my black because that got wild. Okay, that looks a little straighter. Happier with that. All right. It's coming along. I'm loving it. All right, I'm going to go into my violet and my red again. Go back to my cherry. I need more of the violet. Actually, I'm going to add a little black to it. So those three colors. I like for my cherries to be like this really dark red color. And I'm just going to put this in a few places. And wash my brush and get just my red color before my dark color dries. And my highlight should stay somewhat visible because reds can be transparent, so I should still have a little bit of highlight in here. And I'm just going over the whole cherry. Well, that's looking pretty good. A little bit more of that dark in here. And I think I'll put some dark coming through here. And then go back to my red. And I'm just barely blending that out with my little round brush. Okay, and we'll make it a little bit dark down here where the stem goes. Well, maybe I'll make it darker. Ideally, you want to let all of your layers dry, or you try and paint another color on top of it. So let's add some highlights onto our cherry. I think I'll dry it. I might do a wash of red over it, just to make sure it's nice and red. And then we'll add our little highlights on here, which is just going to be white. Make sure that is not hot when you go to paint on it. Be like heat setting your paint. So I'm going to put a little highlight here. I think I added a little bit of highlight on my cherry, different than what was on the photo. So this one I want to shrink down a little bit. So I'm just taking my red, shrinking those highlights a little bit. wash over those so they're not so bright. I really want this one and this one to be the brightest highlights. So the other ones you can just lightly wash over those. And that gives a little glisten to our cherry. So the cherry is done. On my orange here, up here in this area, I don't want that to be flat like that. In the photo it wasn't flat. So I'm just going to take some of my black and remove some of the edge there. And give that a little bit more of a torn look, I guess. Okay, we are looking good, looking good. Okay, we're going to do our greenery. I think I'm going to do this one first, and then, because these will all go pretty quickly. This one is a little bit more tedious, but I think we can do it. So a darker green and a lighter green, and we'll need some black and some yellow. I've got yellow out already. So I'm going to take my darker green now. You might want to use a detail liner. Let me just go to a detail liner here in this area here. So you want to thin your paint a little bit with some water, because this, when I painted the small one, it was a little tedious on the small one here, but we'll work it out. Okay, so there was these little lines coming off of the end piece here. A lot of it had lines in it, and I'm not getting my paint to show up. Add a little black in there. We want just lines here, little lines. Although that's not happening. So this one comes over the top. So let's put some lines in here. Lines through here. This curves around here and kind of bends. So we're just putting these very thin little lines on here. Really thin lines. I mean, you got to have some thin ones here. Okay. I'm going to add some of that lighter color. Thin a little bit of that down with some water. And we're going to put some thin lines in here along with these. Maybe. I promise when I get done I will report all of that spam. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm just disgusted by it. Get it on my phone every day, get it in my email. I'm just so sick of it. And I wish YouTube would do a better job of keeping that off. Some lines through here. Hopefully I'm not getting you off camera. Okay, let's put a little shading color. Now, if you want to do the traditional shading, these are small areas, so you really don't need to. I'm taking some black and mixing it with my darker green. If I ever get too much paint of one color on my brush, I just go wipe it off. That removes the paint in my brush, and then you know, you can go back and blend more of the lighter color. You need a moderator for when you go live. Yeah, well, I don't have a moderator. If I had a moderator, I would definitely have one, but I don't have that luxury, so I'm open to anyone wanting to moderate for me. I do not have one. It's just me. I wear many hats in my business, so a moderator would be excellent. I'd also like somebody to come in and do all the office stuff. so I didn't have to. I could just spend my time creating. Alright, so you see we're creating some darker areas on here. Oops. Now you can take some of your base color if they get too dark or too detailed, you know, too much, and just put a little bit in there, and it kind of smooths them out and makes them not so dark. Kind of settles them down in there. I'm going to take that light green, maybe mix a little white with it, and let's see. Okay, that was too much paint on my brush there. This side needs a little highlight where it comes around, so you can definitely tell that that is curved there. So it makes all the difference when you can see those bright areas. I've never had this happen before on any of my lives. Any of them I've done. I've never had all of this spam come in here like this, ever. So I don't know why today is different than any other day. Maybe it's the time of day. I've never gone on a Tuesday at this time, or Thursday. I don't even know what day it is. So I don't know. Maybe it's the day. I don't know. I need a little bit of that dark color right here. And then the only other thing to put on here is some orange. So I'm going to take that dark orange and mix some dark green or that black green mix in there, because this was just kind of a wash on here. In a couple places. Just add a little color in there. There we go. Okay, I need to take this and take some of that highlight out of it. I'll try to get the color back to my base color. Take some of that down just a little bit. Not have it quite so wide. And a bright little white highlight. Just along that edge. Maybe a little kiss there, but not too much. Okay, so we just have our leaves and our glass left to do. So we're coming along. Okay, so the leaves, we're going to use the same colors that we used up there. Similar technique, but you can use a round brush instead of using that smaller detail liner. And we will be using yellow. So we're going to start with that darker green, and I'm just going to streak some in here. And if you picked a green that's not the same color as my green, then you may need to add a little black to your next darker green. And just putting some in here and there. And don't worry about getting it in the background, because I can come and fix all of that. So and some of this will get darker. I will come in and add some of that black into it. Right now we're just putting some color in here, because these leaves in the photo were very, I don't know, they almost look like, I don't know, maybe pineapple leaves or something. I don't know, the way they were kind of textury. Not textury, they just looked, I don't know how to explain that. They just, to me, they just reminded me of pineapple leaves. So just a little bit in there. I think I might go ahead and mix some black into that. Thin it down a little bit. And come back in and do a little darker here and there, especially if I've got a vein that I want to see or a little shadowy place. I'm just using a little round brush, so use whatever brush you've got that you like. And I'm just not putting a lot of paint in here. This is a little bit darker area. This is a little bit darker here. It's definitely darker in here. And down here. So in traditional decorative painting, I would be floating these colors, floating them here and there, and creating, that's not color, I want that light green. We're going to go to the light green now. Let me thin that down a little bit. Get the moisture out of my brush. And then we're just going to create some highlights in here. Got to add some washes of color on here as well. Let's see, this one was bright on the end. And then I kind of want to see the edge of that one. Defining my edges a little bit. And just a little bit here, a little bit there. Then this one had a turned edge. You can definitely come back with whatever you want on here as far as color goes, as much as you want to get it perfected. But I tried not to overthink it. Tried to keep it simple. And this one is turned here. Okay, we're looking good. All right, we want to make a brighter green now. So I'm going to take my yellow, and can't remember which green I used. Oh, that one works good, that darker green and yellow. And we'll make a bright green here. And we're going to put some of this on here. Just a little bit here and there. That looks almost too yellow, so let's add some of that other green in there. There we go. Make it a little more olivey, bright green. And you can put as little or as much as this in here as you want. Put a little bit out here on this one, give it a little bit of that light green stuff. Okay, so this is the point where if you cannot see the separation of your leaves, you want to go in here and make sure that you can see them. Let's see, this one goes down here. I can't even see them. So I'm just going to put a little, some of that black and mix it in with my green so I can get it a little darker. Because this one is right here. Right there. But try not to make just a solid little line. So if you end up putting a line in there, kind of chop it up and make it textury and rough. Okay? Make it a little bit darker back here. I don't know if this is exactly how I painted my first one I painted, but I think it's looking pretty good. So I kind of lost my vein. I want to put that back in, right in this one. And let's see. This one had a little bit of a vein in it. So we can put that back in, just that dark green mix. And this one I can still see it pretty good, so it's good. And remember, the background's black, so we can fix up anything we don't like. So now we want to put a little orange on there. So I'm going to take that dark orange and dirty it up with a little bit of my green. Make it kind of a wash. I'm still just using this round brush, but you know, for this you could go to a bigger brush. And we want to put some of this orange in here. It was mostly on this really big one here and this one, so just a little wash of that color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean up out here. I've got some graphite lines that I need to erase on everything, so I'm going to leave those graphite lines on there for now. I'm just going to touch up where I got paint in the black, because I'll come back and erase all those graphite lines. Okay, let me wide angle out so you can see how it's looking. Look at that. Doesn't that look awesome? So awesome. Okay, we've just got the glass to do now, and I'm going to stay with my small round brush. You can go to a detail liner to do the glass part. So we're going to start with a mix of white and black to make a light gray. I'm going to put some fresh paint out here. Okay, so I just want a really light gray, so it's going to be almost white, but not pure white. Add some water to it and thin it down a little bit, because we really want this to flow. Okay, alright, let's start up here. I'm going to touch the tip to my paper towel, make sure I don't have a lot of paint on the end of it. And let's follow our line up here. Okay. And if I don't get a line straight or I get it too fat, we have a black background, remember. Make sure that looks straight. Okay, this comes across our orange. Down this edge. We only have to go about to there. This side we're going to skip a space. We'll erase that graphite line, and we're going to start right about here. And just go to there. Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit better. We're going to come over this with some white to brighten in some of the places. And not sure that's coming in the right place there. I have to lift that up a little bit. So I'll take my black and remove the lower part of that line. Okay, so let's come down here to the bottom part of the glass, and the stem we're just going to outline part of this side. We'll erase that part. And we'll put a little bit of something there. It's got this curvy highlight that's going down through here. So you can add that. You can add the, I have to mix some more. Make it really light. Adding white till I get it light enough here. Around that side. Some here. you know, wherever. Add some little highlights on there. We're going to put some pink down in there. Okay, so we need to go around the bottom part of the glass. So I'm going to start about here. I might come up a little higher. And then down here we want it to be just a little bit fatter. So we can make it a little fatter to give the illusion of thicker glass at the bottom of this. Doesn't have to be quite that thick, so I probably will remove some of that. So I'm going to take my damp brush and come in here and remove some of this and make it a little thinner. And then out here on this edge, I'll just clean it up with my black. We want this to kind of be really thin and disappear into nothingness here. We don't want a hard ending line like I did over here. It kind of disappears off of there. So I'll clean up with my black on this outer edge. And clean that up and make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to put a few little lines here. Okay, for some highlight lines. And I think we're pretty good here for our gray lines. So now we just need to add our white on here. If you make your lines too wide in some place that's not where you can clean it up with a black, you just need to clean it up with a damp brush. That's just the easiest way to do it. I still feel like that back there is just incredibly not straight. I don't know if it's because it's got that other line on there or what. Let me take my black and see if that looks straighter. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I'll clean up down here with the black in a minute. Let's put a little bit of pink down here. Let's make it darker. I don't want it that bright. Like some kind of reflection down in the bottom down there. All right, let's come back with our just straight white, and then we will clean up our background and see if we need to add highlights anywhere else. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit along this front edge. A little bit back here, and then right back here in the center there was this really bright little light on there. We want to come around here and create some highlight. And down this edge. Along this edge. You can come inside the gray line that you created there. You don't have to go on top of the gray line. Some there. We've got some highlight here. Some kind of light or something that is shining, reflecting there. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Thank you for reporting that. I really appreciate that. And we've got a highlight here. And you'll have to go back over these, and then it comes down here, and then a little bit there. One layer on here won't be enough, so make sure you're kind of following the shape of your glass. That really helps. I don't think I'm getting them in exactly the right place as my other one, but it'll all be good. Down here we got a little highlight there. One that comes across here. And then down here. And that might be a little bit fat right there. Take my damp brush and remove some of that. Okay, and we need to highlight right down here at, I'll try not to stick my hand in that wet paint, right down here, and along here, a little bit in here, not the whole thing, down this edge. You're doing a kind of a hit and miss as you go down these edges here. Okay, I'm going to go back and brighten some of these. Know what was reflected on the glass there. Now in the original photo, some of the reflections were blue, so I chose to change that and not put the blue reflections in because I didn't want to add another color on here. I want to make sure my glistening on my orange is a little bit brighter. So anywhere that you feel like you want to brighten up a highlight, that's what you're going to do right now. Okay, I think down here at the bottom, this could be a little bit brighter. I'm going to erase my graphite lines, and then I'm going to touch up where I need to touch up with my black. And that's going to help a lot. Okay, so I'm just going to start up here at the top and start erasing around everything and make sure that there are no graphite lines left on the painting. Make sure your paint is dry before you go over it. So if you've got an area where you've laid in some thick paint, I would get your little heater out and make sure it's dry. I didn't put very thick layers on here, so. Okay. Sure. Okay, so I see someplace I need to add some white down here. Alright, because that side is it didn't have the highlight coming down all the way. I'll put a little black back in here. Okay, so this is where you go in and you touch up your black. So I got outside of my glass here. And anywhere you want to thin down, I just want to thin that a little bit. Okay, let's look and see if any place else. We already did this back here, but I can still see a little bit of that color peeking through. You just want to clean it up. That's the good thing about having a black background, man. It can really fix stuff up easily. Okay, I think down here I might wash a little bit of, the paint's drying out now. Not have that quite so dark right there. So bright, I guess I should say. Give it a little reflection of this this color will keep more of the brightness down at the very bottom. All right. I'm not really seeing any place else I need to clean up. I think it looks pretty good. Well, let's compare. I've painted 3 of these now. Let's see if we can compare and see how close they got to each other. So let me move some of this stuff off of here. Put all my eraser shavings off of here. And we'll put them all down here and give them a compare. So I have to zoom out here. Let me turn off my palette camera. And my fancy drink. Where is it? Nope. There it is. Okay, I knew I'd find it. Okay, wide angle out. So we can put all 3 of them here. 3 different sizes, 3 different paintings. And I think they all look great. Now, you know me, I love painting fruit, so anything that's got fruit in it, I'm going to go for. So there you go. This one's a little bit darker. You can definitely tell. I used a little bit more of that dark pink color in here. But overall, I think they look pretty good. I'm very happy with them. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Thank you, Lonna. Need to go. Always learn new things from you. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. Yeah, this was very fun. Photograph. Let me put that photograph up one more time. I'll move it over here. So this was the photograph and this was the painting. So I think we did pretty good. Pretty good. The cherry is a much brighter red there. And I did have a cherry red color that I normally use on cherries, but I didn't use it this time. I think this one that I painted today, the cherry came out much brighter looking. But I think it turned out great. So you can just see how you could, if you just see different, if you break it down to seeing different colors and values, it's very easy to paint from a photograph. I don't know well how I broke this down for you guys, but let me know. I'd like to do another one where I take a photograph and we paint it. Yeah, we might just paint it without me practicing painting it from the beginning. We'll take something in a photo and just paint it and see where we go with it. But yeah, this one, I love this one so much. It was so much fun. I'm glad that you guys picked this one. It was definitely a fun one for me. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Didn't take me as long as I thought it would take me. So that's good. that's always good. But it was a lot of fun. I really hope you guys paint this one. I just thought it was so incredibly fun to paint. So if there's not any questions, you guys, please be sure and subscribe if you have not. And I'm going to be doing more on YouTube than on Facebook because Facebook wouldn't even let me get on there today. So I'll be doing definitely more on YouTube. And so I need you to subscribe so you know when I'm going live. And please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this at all. I appreciate you guys so much. So let me just make myself bigger and I'll tell you all goodbye. Thank you. Have a wonderful remainder of your day. I've got lots of deadlines for this afternoon, so I'm going to be painting hard today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please tag me on any of the media outlets if you do paint my designs. I always love to see your versions, and I appreciate you painting my designs. So I'll see you guys on the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.